Hi everyone, Mikey79 here and welcome to this new deck video of Magic Duels. The deck that I got today for you guys is a wasted Golgari deck, so that means that we're playing black, green and some wastes. So basically it makes it a 3-color deck because the waste is necessary to play some cards that you can't get with generic mana. So it's colorless mana that we need to play those cards. Now I don't play lots of those. It's a splash color actually, but it is a color. We have to treat it like a color. The colorless is a color. As you can see, I play 24 creatures in this deck, so it's a heavily creature based deck. And it's a bit controlling. Now it's not uber control like you see sometimes of me. When I play those decks, it's usually with instants and sorceries. But this time I chose for creatures, and I actually try to overrun the opponent with all those creatures. So let's take a look at the deck. The first card that we got is this Deathcap Cultivator. Really nice card. For 2 mana, 1 green, we get a 2/1 body, but it's not for the body that we play it, it's for its ability. He adds a black or a green to your mana pool. So basically this lets you ramp. You play this on your second turn, and if you get your land drop next turn, you can play a 4 mana creature or something else. Now the Delirium, it's a nice extra, but it's not that we're playing it for the death touch. But later in the game, when your graveyard is getting fuller and fuller, and he does have death touch, then it's a pretty nice extra because he can block a bigger creature then. So usually later in the game, when you don't need the mana, then you're going to use it as a good blocker. Then the Sylvan Advocate, also 2 mana, 1 green, the same cost. You get a pretty decent body already on this one. It's a 2/3, which is, like I said, pretty decent for its mana cost. On top of that you get Vigilance, so nice ability. And then when you control 6 or more lands, he and land creatures you control get +2/+2. Now I don't play many land creatures, only play 2 mana lands, I guess. But giving himself +2/+2, making him a 4/5, makes him playable later in the game too. So he's pretty decent early in the game. There's no reason why you wouldn't play him early. And yeah, when you draw him later in the game, still a good card. He's a decent body then too. Then the Sylvan Ranger, like I said, basically we're playing 3 colors, so yeah, you need to fix that mana a bit. Sylvan Ranger does that instead of the great Gatecreeper Vine that we had before this update, but now it's Sylvan Ranger. It's the same cost, 2 mana, 1 green, and you get a 1/1, which is also, in my opinion, a bit better than the Gatecreeper Vine. Because if there's no creature on your opponent's side, you can keep attacking, and if there are, then you have a little blocker that maybe can chump block a little creature to death. Then the Evo Leap, that's one of the key cards in here. We're going to sack the creatures through it and get some card advantage. And as you will see with the other cards, we will go digging in our graveyard, so it's not a real downside to have some creatures in the graveyard. Then Ruin in their Wake, also 2 mana cost card, also 1 green. This one's got Devoid, but it doesn't matter. The ability is we're going to search our library for a basic land, so basically we're going to fix our mana, and we can put it onto the battlefield tapped if we already have a waste in play. So if we already have a waste, then we ramp, and if not, we make sure we have our next land drop. Then Liliana, still like her a lot, still a great planeswalker. Yeah, she discards a card, each player discards a card, so like I said, we will be going into our graveyard a bit, so it's not a bad thing. Second ability, also good synergy with that, and the emblem is also still game winning, so, and we do play a lot of creatures, so she has a home in this deck, I think. Not that many sack outlets to make her flip. But anyway, when she hits the board, it's a threat for your opponent. At least your opponent will see her as a threat, so he has to deal with her. Then one of those sack outlets is the Fleshbag Marauder. Still like this card. It's one of the few removal cards that I play actually. Don't play, I almost play no removal, which is also the downside of this deck. When you got a huge threat, a bigger threat than your threat on the board, then you got a problem, and sometimes a flashback can deal with it. I mean, hopefully it can deal with it. Then Nissa, yeah, also still a planeswalker, that's still great. And the reason why I play the old planeswalkers in this deck is because they are creatures, and like I said, we will be going in our graveyard to get some creatures back, so we can get these planeswalkers back in. Yeah, still like Nissa a lot, not because she's an old card that she isn't worth it, still pretty decent. You do see a lot of enchantments going around, especially with the oaths if you play against planeswalkers decks. So Reclamation Sage is actually still a good value card, at least in my opinion it is. So I added 2 copies so we can destroy an artifact or an enchantment. I only played 1 in the beginning, but because I can get them back from my graveyard, I thought I only needed 1, but playing 2 pays off. Then finally a card where we need a waste for, and well worth going through the trouble for playing wastes, is this Matter Reshaper. So we play 2 and 1 colorless, and yeah, when he dies you reveal the top card of your library, and if that card is cheaper or if the mana cost is 3 or less, it goes onto the battlefield immediately, and if not, it goes into your hand. So basically, if this creature isn't exiled by your opponent, then yeah, you just get a card advantage. It replaces itself actually. So damn good card, and it's a 3/2 body, which is also pretty decent for its mana cost. Really love that card. Then Pulse of Murasa, like I said, we'll be going into our graveyard. Now the deck isn't fast, it still goes slow. You see all these cards are low cost, but it's still a slow deck. And oops, don't need that one, need this one. And yeah, the 6 life gain is significant, it's important sometimes, especially against aggro decks, but we can get back a land card or a creature card. So yeah, pretty good card actually for its cost. Instant speed, yeah, great card. Then the new Nissa, yeah, a planeswalker for 3 mana, 2 green, is already pretty decent. She's got a good body, 3, and you usually put her up to 4. She still dies that way at Firecraft or something, but it's still a decent planeswalker. Now usually I play this to defend myself a bit with the 0/1 green plant creature tokens, and that way I try to build up to her ultimate. I don't usually I don't use a second ability unless it lets me win the game, of course. Then Kalitas, Traitor of Ghet. This is a really value card for its mana cost. You pay 4 mana, you get a 3/4, which isn't bad, but it does have lifelink and some other abilities. So if a creature of your opponent dies and it isn't a token, then you exile it instead and you get a 2/2 zombie token. Now if you sacrifice a zombie or a vampire, then you put 2 +1/+1 counters on this one. So yeah, it's a big creature. It can become a big lifelink creature actually, and yeah, if you can play him on your 4th turn, or maybe with the ramp or with the Deathcap Cultivator on your 3rd turn, then yeah, your opponent will have to deal with this immediately, because it can go out of hand really fast. Then From Beyond, yeah, we all know this card. We played a lot with it in the previous season. At the beginning of our upkeep we get a 1/1, which is pretty damn good to defend ourselves, and if we don't need the defense we can sack those tokens to add some colorless mana to our mana pool, and then we can hopefully cast something bigger. Now if we sacrifice this, we can go search for an Eldrazi card, and the Matter Reshaper is one of those, for example. But we also do play other ones. Then Languish, yeah, mass removal. Sometimes you just need it, and it's the only card that makes me deal with creatures. That and the Fleshbag Marauder. It's those are the only two cards that make me get rid of creatures that annoy me. Now, and this one doesn't kill everything off, and the ones that I don't kill off, I hope I can kill with the Fleshbag. But usually I don't need removal because I overrun the opponent. But sometimes against aggro decks you still need a Languish. That's why it's in. Then this one, pretty awesome creature actually, and some great abilities on it. The Gitrog Monster, or whatever it is, you pay 5 mana, a black and a green, and you get a legendary creature, a frog horror. For of all creature types, it's a frog. And it's a 6/6 body, which is already also for 5 mana. And you get a Death Toucher. Now, usually bring down everything with that body of him, but even when it's something bigger, like a Kozilek for example, he can bring that down too. And then we get the other abilities. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice him unless you sacrifice a land. And then you may play an additional land on each of your turns, and when a land goes into your graveyard from anywhere, draw a card. Now that's pretty damn awesome. You will see in my mana base that I play a land that goes pretty well with him. And yeah, usually when you don't have that land in your hand, I will show you the land pretty... it's the reason why I play this Drownyard Temple. So if you sack this one, you can play it back for 3 mana. It comes back to your battlefield. So when the monster is on your side of the board and you have to sack a land, just sack this one, and every time you can get it back if you pay the mana. Now even if you don't have that land, if you sack a land, you draw 2 cards. Normally there should be 1 land among them, and yeah, that's just great. It's just a card advantage. Pretty decent card, pretty great body. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this one. It has won me a lot of games. Then the Greenwarden of Murasa, also a card that goes into our graveyard and get some stuff back. Now this one can get back everything, so a Languish or the Planeswalker Nissa there, or whatever, Pulse of Murasa if you need it. And that's why I really like this card. Usually I won't use the exile unless I need it, because I have other cards that can bring back the creatures. I like to bring this one back so it pays off multiple times. So yeah, awesome card. Now the Woodland Bellower, still awesome card. I think it can go get a Reclamation Sage, or also the card that I just added. If you play it at your 6th turn, then and you go fetch this one, you have 2 fat bodies on the board for the price of 1. So pretty awesome addition to this deck. Then the Hydra here, the new Hydra, for 6 mana you get a reach creature, and its power and toughness is equal to the lands that we control. Yeah, it's just a big fatty. It's awesome, and you can search your library for a land card. It doesn't have to be a basic, so we can go get the Drownyard Temple or whatever we need. Can get the Drownyard Temple for the synergy with this one, for example, or a dual land or whatever you need at that moment. Then the Oblivion Sower, we're going to get some more lands and going to make our Hydra a bit bigger through this one. And yeah, I don't need to explain this one anymore, we all know it. It's a very decent ramp card. And then the Ever After, for 6 mana 2 black, we can, it's actually a Rise from the Grave. but with 2 creature cards instead of 1. And this one doesn't go to your graveyard, it goes to the bottom of your library. And yeah, we shuffle our library regularly, so yeah, it shouldn't be a problem to get it a few times if we need it. And then the true game winners, like it isn't enough already, of course Ulamog. 10 mana shouldn't be a problem with this deck, because it's sometimes revamp a bit, and it's a slow deck, so yeah, Ulamog isn't a problem. And then a little cozy for some card draw. Now he isn't indestructible like Ulamog here, but it's still a, yeah, it's a 12/12. I mean, come on. And if he dies, yeah, you draw a bunch of cards. You have 7 cards in your hand. You probably have another win condition, so, and you can counter something. So yeah, pretty strong card on its own. Then for the mana base, I play 3 swamps, 8 forests, 2 wastes. Then the only mana land that I play, the Hissing Quagmire, 2/2 death touch, pretty decent if you need some good defense. Then the Westvale Abbey, yeah, I do play some creatures, so 5 creatures shouldn't be a problem. And when the opponent wants to wipe the board, I can get this indestructible on instant speed, to, if I have the mana open, of course. Then all 2 Woodland Cemeteries, then 1 copy of the Drownyard Temple, and all 4 copies of the Foul Orchard. And that's the deck, guys. I had some decent results with it. It's pretty fun to play. If you like heavily creature based decks, then I recommend that you should give this a go. Try it out, and if you do some changes, let me know. A deck is never finished. It's always improvable. You can always improve a deck. So if you are going to fine tune it even more, then be sure to let me know what you've changed. So that's it for this deck tech video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope I see you guys at the gameplay video. See you later, guys. Bye bye.